What's up, YouTube fans? Today we're going to take a look at the Siyang culture Vladivostok, or their version of a legend scale Metroplex. This was sent to me by Dr. Diecast. Thanks for allowing me to take a look at your copy. And there's actually quite a few things you need to do out of box to set him up. Mainly the LEDs and installing them. It's a real pain in the butt. But I'm going to start first by showing you some of the parts that are in there. There was a bunch of parts on here on this runner, and I wasn't sure what they were for, but they're basically replacement hinges. So if you break any of these hinges on the knees or on this part right here, then you can replace it. So you don't need those in order to install them. Also get a bunch of these little LED pieces, and these have a little adapter right there to plug into the lighting. And if we open up one of them, I can show you what they look like. But you get a bunch of these. You do need a battery. I think it's CR927s. So you have a bunch of those. And you do kind of have to be careful because some of them are powered by this remote control. So it just has an on-off switch. And because of the frequency they use, you can end up running the batteries when you don't want to. I think it just gets turned on. So during shipping, when Dr. Diecast sent this to me, the lights must have turned on and drained all the batteries because none of them had batteries. But you also have to install them correctly. So let's just show you one of them. So if we take this off, it's a real pain, but here's what the light looks like. And it's a very thin wire, so you really want to be careful. And I actually had to solder one of them because it broke off before he sent it to me. So he asked me to solder it, so I did. But these little pieces is what I'm talking about. So there's the little connector. So you got to plug that little connector in very carefully. And then there is one side that is actually the light up side. So you got to actually put it in the correct way. So I'll turn it on, I'll show you. So this is the right side. This is the wrong side. You can see there's kind of a grid pattern on this side, and it's not very bright. On this side, it's a little bit brighter. So that's the side you want out. It can be a little tricky, but this is going to fit into this hole. And then line this up and get this tabbed in. And that's how it goes in. Let me turn them all off before I waste all the batteries. And then there's another one right here in the shoulder unit. Looks like this. Same kind of thing. There's one in each shoulder, one on the back of each shoulder, and two in the feet. Now the feet require removing these two screws. I'm not going to do it. These ones are actually relatively delicate. That's the one that I had to solder. So you don't want to be careful, but same kind of thing goes in those feet. And then like I mentioned, over here, and then there's one in there. And I think that might be it. So you just want to be careful with these because they're very thin wires. Once you get it all in there, there's also an LED here, but that's a standalone unit. You don't need the remote control for that. That one is powered or turned on by the end of not that gun, this gun. So if you take one of these off, I just had them attached to the shoulders, but they look like this, just black plastic, nicely sculpted. But if you look at the end, there's a magnet in there. So if you touch that to the chest, that'll turn on. Touch that to the head, that'll turn on. It does look pretty good. All right, there we go. There it is with all the lights on. The shoulders, the head, the chest, the feet. And if we come to the back, there was one defective one right here. I couldn't get that to work. And then right here. And this one, I didn't put a battery in, but there's another light up here. So pretty cool. It does look city-like. It looks a lot better when we get into city mode. But I do notice it works a lot better if you hold it down. Then you can turn them all off. And then you can use this to turn off the rest. All right, let's get into his articulation, but we'll start with the head so you can see it up close. There's a little opening panel here. That's to lift up on the visor. You can get that, you know, out of the way. So if you want this look. Now, then you can't close the head, so I'm not really sure where you're supposed to put it. But even if you fold it back, you know, it collides with the top of the head. It's not really a place to store it. But there's the face without the visor. That looks pretty cool. The ears will rotate forward and backward, which is actually part of the transformation. You can lift up on this, which is a little gun, and this is the piece that they gave you replacements for. So I guess just be careful with it because you don't know what's going to happen. But that plugs in there, and then you can slide this out. Yeah, and this likes to come off, but it's on a mushroom peg. But then you can push this back down. Coming to the shoulders, we have outward movement on a ratchet, and there's a cover down piece underneath. Rotates all the way around on a ratchet. You have a rotation at the bicep. You have a double jointed elbow. Gets you the full bend also for transformation, so that's nice. Going back down, you just got to get it at the right angle to do it. Rotation at the wrist, individual articulated fingers. They're actually really nice hands. Very well done. At 1, 2 pins and then a ball joint at the base, and then thumb is on 2 pins and a ball joint as well. So they're very posable and very nice looking hands. Coming to the waist, you have a waist rotation on a ratchet. The legs will kick forward on a ratchet up to there, back to there, and out to the side. You have a rotation at the thigh on a ratchet. Coming down to the knee, you have a 90-degree bend at the knees. You have ankle tilts up to there, and a toe tilt down. For the accessories, I already mentioned he's got these, which will just plug in on the side of the shoulders. And there's actually not really another spot for these in any other modes. They just kind of go there, and that's really it. You also get his blasters, just done in maroon plastic. They're very loose at the end. They do have a LED in here. Turn that on. They're a little dim. It does show through here and here, but my issue is it's just very loose because there's no screw or anything holding together. So it tends to get loose, but you do have those light up features, and there's a tab on each side so you can get that into the hands. And of course, we get 2, and yeah, pretty darn good. We also get this piece, which I took me a while to figure out what this is. I think it's just a prying tool to open up some of these things because it doesn't fit anywhere. I haven't found any spot for it, so I believe it's just a prying tool to open up stuff. But all right, and there's one more thing, not quite an accessory, but just a thing on its own. We had to build the Windblade model. So I've laid it out here. Now it is all the same color, and I recommend you do use snips, to get clean cuts on the edges. But let's start putting it together. Here's the leg, and then we'll get the foot on here. And it is side specific, so you got to get it right. Do the other one as well. So I think this is the front, only because this piece I'm holding has a nice bum, so I figured that's her back. That's the back. So I'll line that up and get that on. There we go. It is a tight fit, but then we'll do this, which fits on there. It's got a waist rotation. Then you get this piece here. It fits on the back. It's like a little wing. Whatever. Oh, to hold the wings, I guess. And then we'll do the arms. So you can tell the arms because the hand has to be the right direction, obviously. I wonder if this is side specific or not. I'm not sure. Looks like it might be. Then we got this shoulder piece. Now this I'm not 100% sure. By the way, there are instructions in the book. So let me just look at what this looks like because it's hard to tell. Okay, I think this is the right one. And that goes in here. Alright, it's just coming together. And then we'll get the head. Looks like this is the back. Fits on the ball joint there. This is the front. Tabs together. She's looking better. Let's get her wings. So, looks like there's... Okay, each side, one goes on the top, one goes on the bottom. That's why they're different. And then we have a little stand here for her. So I can put her on the stand. And lastly, we got swords. It's very flimsy, but let's keep the swords out for now because I want to show you articulation. Head's on a ball joint, rotates around. Oh, popped off. I don't know, man. This isn't great, but shoulders. As soon as you grab it, it comes apart. But shoulders rotate here. Elbows rotate. Nothing at the hands. Nothing at the. Well, I guess the wings rotate a little bit forward and backward. The waist can rotate around. The legs will kick up to there, back to there, out to the side, and then it starts coming apart. A little past 90 on the knee. You do have a forward and backward on the foot, but my recommendation is put her on this little pad, plug her feet in, give her the swords, and then never touch it again. And for a quick size comparison, there it is next to New Age Optimus Prime and that little Windblade figure, and looks pretty good with Legends. I think it's a nice fit with these guys. All right, now let's get this guy transformed into his vehicle mode, and it's a relatively simple transformation, but let's go ahead and take out the guns from the hands. And by the way, I never curl the fingers around the handle, but you can if you want to. We're going to curl up the fingers into cubes, so they look like that. We can lift up here and fold right there, so it becomes basically 90 degrees. Open up this panel and rotate his hand in, and then close that back up. We're going to rotate this forward. Come to this side. Same thing. We're going to collapse the head down, so you're going to rotate these forward. And then the head pushes in. This copy, it doesn't seem to go all the way in. And I don't want to push it since it's not my copy. But, that's about as far as I can get it without forcing it. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it goes more, but that's about as far as I feel comfortable doing it. So we'll just leave it like that. We can push this gun back in and collapse that down. Next we'll take the legs and we will rotate them up. So he's sitting down. And next we'll take the feet, fold those down. It sits like that. We're going to accordion this up so it comes all the way around. And here's where they give you those extra parts, these little maroon pieces, because they can potentially break. We're going to bring this back down and tab that back in. Actually, before I do that, let me show you this. We're going to lift up this panel here, close that up, and then we're going to push this in and tab it in. All right, same on this one. And one part that was separated in the box were these pieces right here. They're just tabbed in right here. You can leave them plugged in, so I'm not really sure why They were detached. They're not needed for anything else, but you can put those there. These, we're going to fold up the handles and attach those right there. And on the other side. So on the bottom, we're going to grab these wheels. I recommend a spudger to pop them out, or use this piece right here, but basically lift these up so they're straight. Open up this panel here, flip this out. Don't push this in all the way because it'll get stuck, and then I'll tab right back on. Same with this one. Lift this up, fold out the wheel, tab that back in. There's another wheel up here, so flip this out, same thing. Flip this out, bring that back down, and now we have all the wheels out. And there's Vladivostok in the rolling vehicle mode, or I forgot what they call this, but rolling base mode. It looks really good. I like the overall size and look of it. It does really harken back to the G1 Metroplex. And overall, it's got some playability. You can put some vehicles in here. So here's the New Age roller. And you can get them sitting here. There's actually little grooves to hold. So you can put vehicles all throughout this piece here. I think that'll look really good. Alright, now let's get him into his other base mode. And we'll take these guns off for now. These can stay on, but we're just going to rotate them upwards. They're going to end up right there anyways. So go ahead and we're going to take the arms and basically straighten those out and put that back up. Then we'll take care of this other arm. So come to this side and open this up, open this up. I'm going to rotate this to the other side, and this is also going to go vertical on this side. So just get this pegged in and rotate, and hopefully that was on camera. So I'm not going to do it again. Next we will take, and I guess we can rotate this around. So you have this look. It doesn't really matter. You can choose whatever you want. But next we're going to take the legs and we're going to lift those up. So rotate those all the way down, because you need to rotate the weights 180 degrees, and then bring these back down. We can store the wheels back in. Make sure you don't push these panels in. So open those up, fold the wheels back in. And same for this one. Go ahead and fold those wheels back in. Next we'll take the leg and we're going to open it up like this. Come to the bottom here. I'm going to flip this around to the other side. And we're going to open up here. There's a little tab holding this all together. You can flip this around and then bring this back. So it should look like that. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So, all right, and of course for the finishing touches, we're going to take these pieces. They can only attach one place, so we're just going to put them right back where they were before, just on the outside now. All right, last piece here, we're going to open up this helicopter pad. And we can pull this out, pull this all the way out. Vladivostok in the base mode, and it's pretty darn cool. I think this is probably the more impressive part of the whole thing. And you can put, vehicles wherever. You can put an airplane or a helicopter up there. Here's Optimus. Here's the little roller. You put that there. I don't know. We've got Optimus's trailer here. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a pretty big base. You could put a lot of legend scale figures on this and still have a really nice display. So it almost makes its own diorama, and it's a figure, so it really is cool. And before I forget, there it is with all the lights turned on in base mode. This is really cool. I think this is a nice feature to be able to display the base with all this. It kind of looks like a city, you know, with the little windows there. So final recommendations on the Siyang Culture Vladivostok. And this is a little bit of a mixed bag for me, but overall, I really like the figure itself in all three modes. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I'm going to recommend it. It performs very well. I like the transformation. It's fun, intuitive. It's G1 upgraded to today's modern standard. Now, the parts that I don't like are installing and manipulating the LEDs. By the way, they're on a timer. They turn off. You can see those feet and everything turned off. I'll turn it back on so you can see. But they do turn off after 10 to 15 seconds. These actually turn off as well. So the chest, the eyes, and the guns will turn off after, I think, 30 or 45 seconds, something like that. So that's a nice little feature, but getting the LEDs to work is such a nightmare. Getting all of them in there and trying not to rip the wires out. It all just feels very cheap, which is very strange because the figure itself feels great. You know, it feels robust, strong. There's nothing cheap about the figure. It's just the LEDs. This thing also is kind of a piece of junk. It just falls apart on you. I mean, it looks fine just standing there, but it doesn't have any paint. It's all red, and it's very floppy and flimsy. So, why even bother? Don't even include it. You don't really need it, to be honest. Same for the LEDs. If you don't care for the LEDs, you don't need the LEDs, don't even bother with it because it's a good looking figure without the LEDs. I kind of want to show all the gimmicks, which is why I had to get it all working. But even without those, I think it's a fun figure. It's going to look great with Legends. If you're looking for a diorama to display your Legends, the base mode is awesome for that. I think they really nailed it. It has lots of little cubbies and holes and platforms to put them. So I do recommend it. Just careful with the LEDs. So that's it for today. Thanks to Dr. Diecast for sending us a review. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.